Okay, my name is Walter Davis. I'm with the San Diego County Times and Citizens Internet Television Network, and I'm here interviewing. Please state your names.
I'm Norma Martinez.
I'm Charles Martinez.
Okay, and you are the parents of?
Steven Martinez.
And what is your major reason for, wanting to go public with this story?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think it's important for everyone involved with our son's case to know that our family continues to ask forgiveness for everything that has happened on account of our son making horrific mistakes in his life that led to his arrest and his conviction.
Okay, and also what I understand is that you are advocating at this point that your son be released from prison. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, there was a law passed and signed by the governor for compassionate release of inmates that are incapacitated, that need 24-hour care, that like our son is, he's a quadriplegic now, and he needs 24-hour-a-day care. He has movement only from his neck up. His body is paralyzed due to a stabbing that happened while he was in prison.
So your logic is basically that your son is no longer a threat to society.
Correct.
And there is a law that establishes precedents for him to be released from prison.
Correct. What was the number of the law?
The law has been a long time coming, and it came about because of our son. I'm going to have to kind of explain this by talking about when our son was first incarcerated. He was sent to a prison out in the East County area, and while he was there, inmate assailant stabbed him, and that's when my husband's talking about our son being a quadriplegic. That's where it took place. And what happened was the stabbing at the prison caused our son to become paralyzed from his shoulders down to his feet. And at the time, he was already an insulin-dependent diabetic, which the prison system admitted they were having trouble controlling. He was having episodes of blacking out in prison. They have just had a huge difficulty trying to control his blood sugars. And on top of that, the stabbing increased not only the diabetic complications, but everything associated with spinal cord injury. So this has caused our son to go through a tremendous life change. He entered prison in 1998. He was stabbed on February 3rd, 2001. And as my husband explained, the assailants only spared his voice. He's paralyzed from his shoulders down to his feet. He has a very slight movement, but someone has to feed him. He has no bladder or bowel control. They have to change him. And it's just, it's a difficult experience for them to try and take care of him. So what has happened through all of this is because the level of care isn't available through the prison system, he wound up, after a transfer to another prison, with a pressure sore, because they are not trained to take care of anyone that requires the extraordinary care that our son requires. So by not turning his position, which is normally standard, like even in a nursing home, they neglected to protect his paralyzed body from developing a pressure sore that wound up to be crater size. So through that, it's cost not only us as taxpayers, but every other taxpayer here in California a lot of money for our son to receive emergency care because of him being diabetic. Skin breakdown is worse because the wound doesn't heal properly. So it required multiple operations and a skin graft to close this pressure sore because the level of care wasn't available at that particular prison. So as a direct result, he wound up in a private care facility for 6 months to save his life. And then after that, then he was returned back to another prison where his level of care has deteriorated to the point that we believe that the people in Sacramento are starting to realize that not only our son, but there are others that are no longer a threat because of their condition. There's both men and women that we've become aware of that are aged. They have catastrophic illness or catastrophic injuries. And it's our understanding that some of the senators have been working, as my husband talked about, a bill that is structured around either the compassionate release or some call it a recall of sentence, meaning that in our son's case, because he received such a long sentence, that because of medical history through the Department of Corrections, he could be eligible for release provided that medical history confirms that his condition is so severe that he's an incapacitated felon. But even more than that, the Department of Corrections classified him as severely medically compromised, meaning that he can't hurt anyone. We've been there during visits, and unfortunately where he's at now in a Central Valley, flies come in, and we watch flies land on his face, and we swipe them away while we're there. And but when nobody's there, he just tries to move his head to try and get these things away from his face. And we've asked them to put fly strips up because there's that West Nile virus is up there in that area, and we're just scared to death all the time that one of those things could infect his body or his face, because there are many instances where the medical care don't respond to him when he calls. And if that's something that you want me to talk about or us to talk about, we can talk about some of the abuse and medical neglect that he continues to suffer. And that brings us back to why we feel that he should be considered for release, because we feel that he's remorseful, we're remorseful, and there's nothing more than they can do to him unless they put him on a chair and kill him through execution. His body's destroyed for life, and the doctors at the prison have said that he's a prisoner of his own body, meaning that there's nothing else that he can do.